What is up? I'm Sergeant Ballistic, but you guys can call me Brian. Thank you for checking out this video. Today we're going to be talking about Achromatic. It is the $750 black and white portable all AMD build. I already did a complete time-lapse video on this. You can find that in the description or, little annotations, whatever. Today we're going to be looking at the performance and benchmarks of it and what the whole build process was like. I'm going to be using this as a kind of portable PC at work that we can have in our game room and I can take to my desk when we're kind of doing little LAN things. I'm going to have links to pretty much every single part in the description if you guys want to check it out. So let's get into it. So this is a pretty interesting build. I first and foremost wanted to have a portable rig that we can kind of move around at work, hence using the case that I chose. I also wanted to check out what the kind of current performance level in terms of its CPU power of the current APUs on the market, the 7860K being one of the newer ones to come out recently. And I just kind of wanted to investigate what the kind of upgrade path was if you were to start out with an APU, then pick a reasonably priced GPU to add to it, and what kind of performance you can expect from that. I'll be able to use this build as a little bit of a baseline when new APU SKUs come out, which will be hopefully based on Zen and Polaris if I'm not mistaken. So to be completely honest, I'd go ahead and say that this is a little bit more expensive than it needs to be. You could probably easily cut off $100 to $150 from this $750 price to get this around $600 or $550, depending on what you're willing to sacrifice. Or as I go through the parts, I'll try to mention places where you might be able to save a little bit of cash if you're looking to get the price down a bit. So for the CPU, we're actually using an APU for this build, which is my first major build for myself using an APU. It is the A10-7860k. It's around $100 APU if you buy it right now. Prices might be dropping as we see new APU SKUs coming out, however. So I did go ahead and take the time to overclock this guy. Pretty easy process. If you guys want to see something about how to overclock a CPU on the channel, or GPU for that matter, let me know in the comments below. But we went up from 3.6 gigahertz to 4.4 gigahertz. That's total a 800 megahertz increase and 400 megahertz over the 4.0 gigahertz turbo speed. Moving on to the motherboard, we went with the ASRock A88M-G 3.1. This is a $60 motherboard, fairly inexpensive, and also features a fairly nice feature set for what you're spending. The features that attracted me to this board were of course the price, the fact that it's micro ATX, and that it does again have some of those extra nice new features like USB 3.1. It has I think one regular A-type plug and then another one which is actually USB Type-C, which is kind of nice, very interesting there. And it also has an M.2 slot. So for the GPU, I set my price point at around $200, and I found the R9 380 seemed to be the best performance to price to performance in that range. I was able to actually find the XFX version of this for $169 without a rebate. Great deal on that. I do expect to see some major price drops with this. The RX 480 was announced by AMD to be $200, and they're boasting that it has performance which matches or exceeds the GTX 980. That will be amazing and pretty interesting to see how that unfolds. Hopefully we can get one in and put it in the system and see what type of performance it actually yields. So for the case we want the BitFenix Prodigy M in white and black. It kind of set the whole color scheme and tone for the build. I've built in the mini ITX version of this case several times before. I've got a build on the channel right now, I think it was back in March, where we built a skylight build in the mini ITX version. Airflow was a little bit of a challenge in this build. I had to kind of look up how other people were doing it. I've actually tried this in several different configurations, switching things around. I had the CPU, horizontal, vertical, push, pull, tried a lot of different things, and didn't really make a difference. But with this configuration, you're going to need to make sure that you have plenty of room and clearance in the back of the case, as that's where you'll be drawing in the cold air. The case is actually one of the first areas where you're going to be able to save a little bit of money. I really wanted to go for this micro ATX and fairly portable build. Really like the handles on the BitFenix Prodigy, but you can probably get a much cheaper case. You can probably get it down to 65 or 50 if you really want a bare bones case with not a lot of cable management. So keep that in mind and you can save a little bit of cash. For the cooler, we went with the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. It's a very venerable cooler on the market right now. It's of course an air cooler, but it's known to hold its own against some AIOs that are around double its price. You can get it for $30. Doesn't look the best, but it does the job and will keep your CPU fairly well cool. For the PSU, we're using the BitFenix Fury 650 watt. You can definitely save quite a bit of cash here. These are actually pretty hard to find in retailers right now, so if you're going to get one, it's probably going to be on eBay and they're probably going to be jacking up the price. The big thing about this PSU that makes it kind of special is that it's semi-modular, but it has fully sleeved cables. This helps you put together a really slick build straight out of the box. For storage, first of all, we got a 128GB SSD from Kingston. This is the V300, I believe the series is called, SSD now. $40, not going to get much more inexpensive than that. Maybe you can catch a good sale on one of these or another similarly kind of tiered SSDs. But to augment that, we got a 2TB HITACHI Deskstar. But you can definitely save a little bit of money if you go for maybe just a single drive. A single 2TB drive would do you pretty well. So moving on to benchmarks, again, the goal of this system was to be able to game at 1080p 60 FPS. All of our displays at work are 60 Hz, so there's no point of getting well above that. If you can get above it, then, you know, that's great. But we will see if we were able to do that in most games in a second. In terms of synthetics, no surprises here. You can see what we did in Firestrike and Unigine and Cinebench. I do think we could improve those scores if we were to go with a straight up CPU as opposed to an APU around the same price. I'm not going to be doing any video editing, not going to be streaming off of this, not going to be doing very much except for gaming and maybe capturing a little bit of video. So now I'm just going to let the gaming benchmarks roll and I will see you in a bit. So as you can see, we were able to achieve 1080p 60 FPS with mixed medium to high settings, mostly high though, although that's a little bit of a moving scale across different games. There's like ultra and super ultra in some games, but pretty pleased with that. I'm especially pleased with Overwatch being able to achieve about 59 frames per second. Going to be playing that a lot at work during lunch breaks. So get down there in the comments and let me know what you thought of both this build and the video in general. Are there any other types of builds you would like me to go ahead and do in the future? Of course, going to be trying to have as many of the new GPUs and CPUs as I can get my grubby little hands on. Are there any other specific benchmarks you'd like to see me run? If I have the game, I'll try to add it to my whole kind of suite. Go ahead and go ham on that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, but try to leave some feedback in the comments. Always trying to improve my videos and channel, and your feedback helps out a ton. Go ahead and subscribe if you already haven't. Great time to subscribe. Always going to be having monthly PC builds on the channel, trying to vary them up, different price points, different manufacturers, different vendors and all that kind of stuff. I got my Amazon affiliate link in the description below. If you use it, bookmark it, I get a little small kickback and it helps me keep buying PC parts to keep feeding the fuel and the addiction I have for building PCs, and also hopefully helping you guys get some inspiration for what you might want to do with your builds. Follow me on your favorite social media sites. I've got links to all those in the description as well. That is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.